Welcome to Conscious Living Collective, transformative journey in consciousness with community of like-minded people. That is you. My name is Tomek. I'm a teacher and a scientist. And in this live session, we blend the latest in scientific research, the deep wisdom of mindfulness, and the art of conscious living. As always, this is an invitation for you and for me as well to have your own first-hand direct experience and emerge on the other side with renewed sense of purpose and well-being. Welcome to today's session on 6 pillars of conscious living, revisiting the course that I created some time ago. Today, the one on the foundation of conscious living. And it is very suitable for Conscious Living Collective because we are all here about pondering upon what conscious living really is. But before we discuss the topic, I want to welcome all of you who are here. Thank you so much to my patrons who've been holding space in the Conscious Living Collective and during my patron sessions for such a long time. Hello, Seth. Hello, Anne. Hello, Diane. Hello, Austin. Who else I see here? Oh, hello, Carmela. Very good to see you here. And I also want to welcome all the regulars that have been coming to Conscious Living Collective for a long time. Hello, Karen. Hello, Anne. Hello, Eric, Kathleen. And Elle. Elle, this is not, I know I read Elle, but I remember from the last session, this is not your name. This is just your nickname, but your real name is something else. I remember that. Welcome. Thank you for your contribution to our last session, which was very important. And for those of you who are joining for the first time, please raise your hand. And for you, I want to explain that Conscious Living Collective contains 2 parts. The first one is the discussion. Us as a collective discussing topics that are relevant to conscious living. And the second part is meditation. We meditate together. We dive deep into the field of awareness where we explore together and yet individually the nature of the knowledge that hopefully we acquired during this session. And Lalanya can say it. So Elle, from Queensland, welcome. Kathleen lives in Bali. Welcome. Yes, so to serve a reminder, we've been over the past, this is the 4th week of talking about conscious living, 6 pillars of conscious living, a course I created a couple of years ago, and now I'm revisiting it. I'm trying to reconsider certain things, and today's topic is no different. There's a lot of has changed since the time I published this course. In my mindset, in my thinking, even how I look at awareness, which is the 4th pillar of conscious living and the 1st pillar of mental conscious living, or mental pillar of conscious living, which I will explain in a second. So in the past 3 weeks, we covered movement, nutrition, and sleep as the foundation of our physical well-being, if you will. But we know that they all are connected. There's no one without the other. They all are intertwined, and one influences the other, or ability to explore and found our well-being. And today, I want to consider a pillar that in my course, I think I talk about it as the glue that holds it together. And I dare say it's not just the glue that holds the pillars together, but it's the glue that is the fabric of our existence. And that is awareness. And awareness is something that for me as a scientist has been eluding me for quite some time, because science deals with the realm of the physical mostly, because that's what you can measure, what you can count, what you can see, what you can touch. And in that sense, the first 3 pillars, movement, nutrition, sleep, they are very easily quantifiable. They are very easily measured. And hence, you find tremendous amount of research and knowledge on these three pillars in very hardcore science, in the physical sciences, chemistry, physics, biology, you name it, mathematics. They all concern, they're very good tools to exploring movement, nutrition, and sleep. However, when you come to the realm of awareness, things become a bit more complicated. Because awareness, it's not something that it's easy quantifiable. It's very unique to each individual. And yet, there's no clear answer. Where does the awareness originate? For a very long time, scientists tried to prove that the source of awareness is right here in your brain. That brain somehow produces consciousness and your conscious experience. But in spite of great effort that many scientists made in order to make sense make a connection between brain and awareness, brain and consciousness, they failed. They were not able to find any particular part of the brain or the brain as a whole as a source of the awareness. And there's a reason why I call awareness the first pillar of the quote-unquote non-physical. And the non-physical comes from the fact that you cannot really touch it in a way that we used to. You cannot measure it. You cannot quantify it. It changes from person to person, so to speak. If I would ask you right now, give a picture of an orange and look at it, we would all agree that for Seth, for Austin, for Diane, for Anne, for Carmela, for Kathleen, for Eric, for Sherry, they all look more like a sphere. It has some texture, and we agree that it all looks orange. But when I ask you, what is awareness for Seth, Anne, Carmela, Kathleen, Susie, Austin, Diane, the questions could be different, and questions would be very personal. And yet, awareness, for most of you, as you can sit here, you, I'm sure, have experience with meditation, and you sit with yourself, with your thoughts, and in awareness, so to speak, not so to speak, actually in awareness, you recognize it is something very concrete, subtle, but concrete. And this is something I've taken upon in the course. Oh, by the way, I will display it because I'm talking about something, and you don't. For some of you, might be not. I know many of you have taken this course, so this is not going to be new. But for those of you who haven't taken this course, this is what I'm talking about. You can access it through this card on your screen. Conscious living is self-awareness, learning to observe your thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and automatic patterns without automatically believing or acting on them. That is true. That is very true. But this is perhaps a mistake that many do coming to the space of meditation. That meditation serves a function of, again, conscious living, of awareness itself. But meditation, I dare say, and this is the transition, meditation is not awareness itself. Meditation is an activity, if I want to give a definition of meditation, of directing your attention towards awareness. And let me unpack that, what I mean by that. So meditation is an activity that we perform We sit with our legs crossed or upright in whatever way you sit. You close your eyes, you limit access or input from the physical senses, and something starts happening, something different than your usual experience. And the first thing you do, you use your attention in order to access something. And that something that you access is indeed awareness. So, and now your attention is a tool of accessing your awareness. But awareness is neither thoughts, nor bodily sensations, nor breath. It is all of that and way more than that. Awareness, and this is my personal definition as being working with it, awareness is everything. Awareness is everything that we have access to and much, much more. And that's why in the core 6 pillars of conscious living, I consider awareness as the foundation of everything that includes all the pillars and it forms all the pillars. There's no pillars without awareness. But there is awareness outside of the pillars, because the pillars of conscious living cover mostly our physical existence. And the way I communicate with you right now in this very moment considers our physical incarnation in this physical world. And as a scientist, most of the things I have access to immediately through my senses are those of the physical nature. At least that's the superficial version of the story. Because what I will invite you today in the meditation part, and I always invite you in a sense, is to consider this. Is what you see, what you perceive, what you can touch with your physical senses and physical abilities only an epidermis, only the surface of the awareness as it is? And to give you just a taste of what I mean is, let me ask you, are you aware of your circulation? Are you aware? Are you controlling your digestion? Are you controlling any function of your organs? Are you aware what is happening within every single cell of your body that your body consists of? The answer to that question will be a resounding no. We are accessing only very limited, directing your attention being the tool of manipulating awareness, pointing a flashlight, so to speak. That's what you do. And in meditations, most of the time, what we do, we moving with the tool of awareness, that flashlight, and we're going to move it here. Oh, maybe your breath. Maybe you're going to move it towards particular sensation. Maybe we are going to move it towards a sound or a smell or taste. It doesn't matter. Awareness, attention is only a tool of moving awareness from one point to another. But the awareness is, if you will, if you had this incredible big light that spreads the light all around, you would see much bigger part of awareness. And that much bigger part of awareness, like shining light into the dark night, you illuminate some of the part of the darkness, but most of it is still hidden. So the darkness in the night, it's much more vast than what you shine your light of awareness on. And this is the mystery that we're pondering together today. How big is awareness? What do we really consider in our daily living? Where we direct our torchlight, or spotlight of our attention, and which part of awareness within our daily living we consider the most. And hello, Evie. Or maybe a couple of comments. Austin, lately I keep reminding myself to allow things to be as they are, allow my emotions to be as they are, and allow for more aligned action. And I will talk about it, particularly in the meditation part, that this, what Austin describes, seems to be, if we learn how to, a bit better tactic and very much better alternative to what happens to us today, which is that ultimately we lack our attention span, as we call it, or our ability to direct awareness is very diminished. So what Austin describes is essentially being very much aware of the torchlight, but rather than directing it in any particular direction, simply allow the torchlight to illuminate whatever is the best at that very moment, and trust that behind the torchlight there's something more than just your human being, human body, and our limited understanding of the entirety of awareness and what there is at our disposal if we only allow it. Okay? So this is very important aspect why I'm just explaining why it is so important to explore outside of our mindset or existing mindset that is based on the conditioned reality as we know it. And what I mean by the conditioned reality as we know it, just think to yourself, where does your attention take you most of the day? Where does it reside, if you will? That spotlight. I guess if I say your health, your money, your occupation, your home, your friends, I could name a quite few, and what you recognize is that because of our conditioning, because how we live our life, we actually, the attention that directs awareness, it's mostly limited to our survival and to our basic instincts. And that's the one part of it. We have this operating system that has predetermined points of interest. And when you try to go outside of any of those predetermined points of interest, health, money, relationships, wealth, social connections, then you will feel a resistance, which means that something feels uncomfortable. Your body may respond with production of cortisol or adrenaline. Why are you taking me? I do not allow that. I do not like it. So your body has the quote unquote mind of its own and has its own interest. And according to the saying, as above, so below, this can also be translated into the realm of our sociopolitical scene. Because we consider those topics, and many philosophers and scientists consider these topics, they recognize that because this is the nature of the universe, right? That we as individual consciousness units have ability of directing our awareness onto something. Let us find a way of capturing your attention and putting it where and particular individuals that you can name them for yourself, they want you to put your attention to, or use your attention to bring your awareness to that particular thing. Okay? And this is what? This is a true tool that has been mastered by social media these days. by television, by entertainment. All these areas of life were directed by people that know exactly what human instincts are. They know human nature, what our human nature directs us to pay attention to. What is paying attention? I love that. Attention is your currency. So where do they want you to spend your attention on? Where do they want you to invest your attention? And that is usually something that fulfills their agenda. They're not interested in your agenda, either social media or political order or socioeconomic order. They're not interested in your benefit. They're interested how to bring more of wealth and attention to them, because attention is ultimately the only currency that matters. Once anyone captures your attention, you belong. You belong there for however short period of time. And we know that the tools that are being developed these days, including AI, are tools that are considered with capturing your attention with better and more precision for longer and longer period of time. What I, however, invite you to today in these sessions is to consider for yourself, is it really where you want to invest your attention? Is that really where you are willing to place your awareness to? Remember, awareness is a fundamental aspect of conscious living, and your attention is the tool of placing it. So ask yourself now, how often throughout the day, maybe even now, is it where you shining the light of attention? Is it really where you have decided to shine the light of your attention and use your awareness to explore? Or perhaps it is something that happened automatically, so-called the autopilot that we are driving on so many times during the day, including me. So what I'm saying here is ultimately training what we're doing in meditation, for instance. We are training our attention to abide to our abiding, as opposed to the will of the system that has been created for us, has been created around us. And this system, once again, will include mostly your health, your wealth, your relationships, and so on and so forth. All right? If you choose these, if it is you who have chosen that, that's fantastic. But the question always remains, was it you? Or were you, quote unquote, manipulated into it, either by your DNA and so your natural instincts, or maybe some other entities that, again, have their agenda behind, they need your awareness, right? They need your attention and hence your awareness, where they want them to be. So once again, my job today is to return the awareness to you so you have freedom of choice. Because this is one of the fundamental aspects of you using your awareness at your freedom. That's the measure. That's the only measure of your freedom. I just created a note here, something along that line. Yes. So the awareness, your ability to direct the awareness is the measure of your freedom. And everything that is outside of it, it's potentially hijacking your attention through either your instincts or external systems and so on and so forth. For as 100% zero social media, no news, my focus and attention is only on what matters to me and my family. There you go. It's your conscious choice. That's why the title of today's session is what is the question, what is the foundation of conscious living? It's not good health. It's not your ability to move. It's not the fact that you can sleep well or not sleep well, but how you can direct your attention in a way that places your awareness in places that matter to you. And by the way, that answer to the question, is it something that matters to me? Or perhaps it mattered to my parents, or matters to the society, or other people, or other entities? That's another very important question. And that question can be answered also at the level of awareness, because awareness is as an intelligent field, contains answers in itself. As Austin said, when you allow this intelligent field that you are part of, by the way, this is not something that's outside of you, that's who you are on the fundamental level. If you decide to release your mind, release the control of your mind and the condition and the structure that have been sabotaging your life for so long, and our life at large as a society, what you might find that the answers are slightly different. They do not focus on money. They do not focus on power. They do not focus on greed. They focus on slightly different things. And what you may find also, and this is for you to explore and to consider, don't trust me on this one, explore on your own. We will do that during the meditation part. That the answers, if the answer is truly aligned with who you are, what you experience is, rather than chronic tension and chronic stress and chronic anxiety, you may start feeling a bit of a release, a bit of softness, more ease, more relaxation. And that relaxation, by the way, it's not a purpose of that. The feeling of relaxation, ease, and whatever word describes a positive feeling in your body, is simply a measure of alignment of you as the awareness with that intelligent field that surrounds you and you are part of. It's like going, I would say, being in a river. Being in a river and going against the current. That's what most of the time, most of us try to do. We're going against the current. We're pushing against what we are and who we are because of the structures that are created around us. And I'm talking societal structures. So the invitation, however, today is to do the opposite, is to release the hold of the mind and the current structures and see, as Austin suggested, where we are taken. It's an experiment. And quite frankly, on the level of the mind, experiment that requires a lot of courage. A lot of courage. One thing, for those of you who are listening to my course, in 6 Pillars of Conscious Living, I very often, gently, take you outside of the comfort, they call it the comfort zone, but basically outside of the habitual thinking on the level of the mind, and show you that you look over the edge and see for yourself if the things are as scary as your mind tells you they are. And many times, what you find is that unknown, this possibility that you consider, it's actually a much better option to assure not only conscious living, but the living that is more fulfilled. Because, and this is my assumption here, confirmed only by my experience, that conscious living, it's always more fulfilled living, because the choices that you make consciously are almost always better than the choices that you make unconsciously. And to give you an example of the unconscious choice that we make, you're crossing the street and the bus is approaching. You're not trying to be compassionate or think about the state of your mental health. You just get the hell out of the way of the bus. And those things sometimes happen unconsciously. And this is a good part of the unconscious thinking. But how many times did that happen to you? How many times do you use these days those unconscious instincts for your benefit? Hardly ever. Hardly ever. We only suffer their consequences through nervous system dysregulation, because we react to many situations as if they are dangerous, but they're not. And conscious awareness, directing our awareness through the tool of attention away from these habitual instincts, allow us to actually reconsider, they call it in psychology appraisal, of the situation. Actually, that wasn't a bus coming towards me. That was just a shadow. There's no need to overreact. I can come back to myself. And once again, this is all about your choice. Choices are either made for you, as it happens to many young people, for instance, right? Many young people now are absolutely addicted to social media. That's the only reality they know. The flashlight of the attention is purely focused on the digital, and they have no idea what happens outside. The brain has been rewired in a way that making those conscious choices is tremendously limited. I dare say, for me, as someone who practices directing my awareness and growing in awareness on a daily basis, it's difficult. For someone who's 5, 6, 10 years old, where the brain still develops, those neural connections are very pliable, it's almost impossible to escape the attraction. Again, it's almost like a magnetic pull of all the things that has been created around us to capture our attention and our awareness by extension. This is the thing. There's almost 34 minutes in. I simply want to say that this is something that has been in the scope of my research, my personal research and my academic research, was or are the traditions that consider awareness as the fundamental principle of reality that guides the universe. And until recently, these academic efforts were mostly redirected towards philosophy, study of the mind. But more and more, we will see scientists from the realms of physics, mathematics, chemistry, the hardcore experimental sciences, taking a closer look at our physical world, not as a fundamental reality, but simply as a subset of the larger mental reality of awareness. Because perhaps, and that's only perhaps, the solution to our current problems is not developing more physical technology that, again, is mostly designed to direct our attention away from ourselves and towards more material things, but to consider the technology that is already at our disposal, which is you and your ability to direct your awareness through the tool of your attention towards things that matter, as one of you said. And where you choosing what is right for you And I promise that when you are being given that choice from the level of awareness, it hardly ever is focused on power, wealth, and greed. And it's much more likely to be connected with benevolence, with connection with yourself and others. And I think word that is very overused today, but the field of love. And the field of love, when I understand it, is not about romantic love. It's not about sensual love. It's about the nature of reality that connects both the nature of reality that connects nature. That's not very well phrased, but I know you understand what I mean. That connects nature and us as a part of nature with one another. That's what I mean by love. It's the field of connection that binds us all. The field of awareness, it's a field that it's the same for all of us because we all come from it. And for us, today, I simply invite you to use your ability, your freedom, to direct that attention that normally is scattered across many different tasks that you have every day on something else that perhaps, again, it's like looking over the edge. It's outside of the field of consideration that includes your daily tasks. That's what it is. Okay. So this is before we jump into meditation. I just want to, it's a huge topic. And I look at my notes and I wasn't even able to cover half of it. But before we jump into meditation, as an inspiration, I want to consider one more aspect of awareness as the foundation of conscious living, and this is the collectiveness of it. Because we all come from awareness, we all, on the fundamental level, are awareness. When we come together collectively, what you will experience during meditation is the amplification of the very principle. You, so to speak, we shed, 80 of us, as we sit here, we will use our flashlights to shed it on one spot. And what happens through that spot will be illuminated much more brightly. You'll be able to see it much more clearly, as opposed to when you only shed the torch of your own. And what you experience during this time, and this is very interesting, that happened, and I mentioned too in my previous sessions many times, you will feel amplification of the experience during the meditation. And this is because we gathered here together, not only in one awareness, we are always in unawareness, but under one banner, shedding our light towards the same field and exposing it and seeing it clearly. To use analogy from the other side of the spectrum, when you, being a wonderful, loving being, as you are, move yourself into the crowd of people that express hatred, when they express all those negative feelings, it would be very difficult for you to maintain this benevolent, loving, and kind state. Why? Because the awareness that we surround ourselves by has a magnetic pull towards it. That's why in sessions of Conscious Living Collective, we always consider those brighter spots, those spots that come from kindness, compassion, and benevolence, as opposed to the other part that it's so unfortunately prevalent in our current state of affairs. So hopefully you'll be able to see it for yourself. And when you do, just acknowledge the fact that this is the collective power of us sitting here and simply being together in awareness. In awareness. Okay. If there'll be any other questions after all, I'll be happy to answer it. But right now, I want to invite you to simply sit back and first of all, relax. Not because relaxation is important, but simply make you more receptive towards the nature of awareness that is not that of power and strength and force, but is that, as Austin said, allowing, opening your palm as opposed to holding your palm in a fist. All right, opening up. That's the relaxation that we're going for. Not simple physical ease, but mental openness towards what there is. I'll switch us to the meditation screen. Okay. In this meditation, I'd like to invite you to get real. And real, it's an acronym that represents 4 words. R means to recognize. Recognize things as they are, both on the mental and physical level. Your thoughts, emotions, the state of your body, everything that surrounds you. E stands for experience. Allow these things to be in awareness and experience them with a full engagement. A stands for accept. See how your mind in this process tends to judge and label. And when that happens, simply recognize this is the action of your mind and has nothing to do with the nature of these things. So accepting is taking away your mind, particularly judgment of your mind, for all these things that are in your experience. And finally, L stands for let go. And it represents the ever so changing nature of the reality. Nothing stays the same forever. Change is the only constant. So all the experiences in the field of your awareness that will ultimately change, and you will have to let go of them as this happens. So right now, put your hands in your lap, ground yourself with your feet on the floor. If your eyes are still open, allow them to close. And take one deep breath in through your nose and exhale through your mouth. And consider this as the gateway into conscious awareness that resides not only in your physical senses, but way outside of them. And with the gesture of open hand, allow the things that are already in awareness come to you, or better, become you in the being. And if your mind wants to participate in this process, engage it in getting real. Recognize, experience, accept and let go. You can apply this formula to all the experience that comes your way, everything that it's included in your current awareness, recognizing that the current awareness is only open to a fraction of what there is, and that is a subject to change. Right now, I will allow you to explore on your own, using your attention to direct your awareness to whichever comes to you and get real. And I will bring you back when this time of exploration is up. And now, consciously move the field of awareness to your physical body and see for yourself what state your body is in right now. Is it in more alignment with who you are? Perhaps there's still some resistance and tension. Regardless, feel the refreshment of the senses, both externally and internally. And perhaps make a mental note that this is more who you are, outside of many limitations that your mind imposes on you. And you can return to explore more, to expand more from this point onwards. Right now, with the same quality of expanded awareness, move towards gentle physical movement, starting by gently and slowly wiggling your toes. Conscious movement. Apply the same principle to your fingers. Slow, gentle, conscious movement. The same principle used to tilt your head to the left, feeling the stretch on the right side of your neck. Tilt to the right. Gentle stretch on the left side of your neck. Back to the center. And let us conclude as we started with deep, conscious breath in through your nose. And exhaling with sigh through your mouth. And with that, allow your eyes to open and welcome back. Thank you for meditating with me. And thank you for sharing that conscious space, that awareness that we explored together. What is your experience in 1 or 2 words, if you will, of that exploration? Well, thank you, Susie. That was the best meditation I've ever done. Well, you simply explored the part of you that is so you. And being you, it always feels good. So I'm glad that you had a chance to experience who you really are. As you put your 2 comments about how you are right now, not what you're feeling, but how you are. I want to say that my guidance is always reflection of the presence of all of you And that obviously changes from session to session, but that felt very right to me. So I'm glad I had a chance to meditate with you and kind of explore aspects of myself, but not as an individual, but maybe again as a collective, maybe something that we have in common, exploring the common denominator of all of us in this space. I'm very grateful for that. Jerry, so relaxing. Thank you. Kathleen, detached from mind. Always a wonderful place to be. Informative, interesting, worthwhile. Thank you. Yeah, peaceful and rejuvenating. Thank you so much for all your comments. Karen, wonderful meditation, very relaxing. Thank you, Anne. Very real. That's a lovely comment. I think this almost immediately triggered me. Thank you, Anne, for that comment. Coming back to yourself again. It seems like James Joyce's character lived a couple of feet away from himself, Mr. Duffy. I think this is very real. What it means that you're coming back, you are closer to yourself through this exploration. And I'm glad. Thank you, Kate. I'm calming and aligned, spacious, Diane, beautiful, relaxing. Thank you. Austin, always good with the words, help together in the universe. Indeed. And I recognize that emoji of a plant, which is very significant, as many of us know. Well, so that's the end of our session for tonight, but we will return with the 5th pillar of conscious living next week. And we will continue our exploration, joyful, I dare say, exploration of the nature of reality, the nature of consciousness, and nature of awareness. Yeah, poor Mr. Duffy, indeed. Susie, my love, forever being. There's a young man in my building who is severely autistic and mentally disabled, and he always sits outside my door or in the lobby, moaning and making all sorts of noises. I used to be annoyed, but now not anymore. Yeah, there are many expressions of awareness in this universe, and our job is not to judge them. Our job is to recognize everything happens in awareness and everything happens in visibility, even in our limited mind, has no idea why. Susie, thank you so much for being here. I look forward to seeing you again. And so I look forward to seeing all of you during next session, next Monday, the same time. Thank you, Seth. Very good to see you here as always. I just want to post another one, a link to my profile. And in this profile, if you wish to go there, there are all the information about the course, about upcoming events, about other tracks, meditations that direct you towards awareness. That's always the purpose. So feel free to use them there. And for now, I want to wish you good night or pleasant day, wherever you are. I'll leave you with Peter Helen and his wonderful music. Look forward to seeing you next time. Until then.